Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alan Smason, and welcome to NOLA Theater Talk. This is a special memorial that we're doing tonight to the late actor Scott Michael Jefferson, who many of you who live in New Orleans may well remember many of the works that he was involved with a number of theater companies here in New Orleans. We, of course, want to remember Scott's memory. He passed away not this weekend, but last weekend. He would have been 70 years of age. He was just shy of his 70th birthday. And again, I've got a list of the remarkable work that he did as an actor. And again, I've got a number of photos to share with everyone tonight. We've invited a number of people to join with us in this tribute, but it's one of those things. This is something I felt compelled to do. I was very moved by many of the performances that Scott gave us throughout his life as an actor, and I kind of felt like the fact that he had died in Florida, many people were not, one, aware of the fact that he had passed away, and number two, didn't have a space to come to perhaps talk about what he meant to them and how he affected their work, perhaps as fellow actors, or perhaps creatively in some way, or maybe just moved in some way by the magnificence of his art. So those of you who are watching, we appreciate you all being out there. Those of you who are interested in coming in, we will tell you that we've given out the links on our NOLA Theater Facebook pages as well. But for those of you who are looking to come in, I can forward that as well. So that people who are interested in coming in can join the conversation. But I have invited several people to this show tonight who I believe were among the ones that work closest with him. That probably means I've left somebody out who was very important, and for that I apologize in advance. However, many of the people who I contacted had worked very closely with him and knew him, and will miss him dearly. And I do have a couple of comments from people who already had sent me their regrets. We're not able to come in. So again, I appreciate people who are out there. I've got a slew of photographs that we're going to be showing throughout the night. A video that came in from one of our good friends, and also I know that Natasha Raymer, who provided a number of the photos, is about to come into the room too. Natasha, I know you want to probably arrange your video so that we can see more of your face and not so much the top of the room there. I'm going to let you. Yes, we can see you now a little bit better. That's wonderful. So Natasha Raymer, of course, from Moscow Nights. Natasha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now again, Natasha, you are the executive artistic director, I guess it would be, of Moscow Nights. Would that be
yes,
correct?
I am artistic director. Yes.
All right, and you worked with Scott several times, but you actually were so influential in terms of your native Russia, etc., that you were able to take Scott and I believe Diana Shortis, and you were able to take that work that you had done locally and bring it to the International Chekhov festival, right? Mm-hmm. And that's amazing that someone from New Orleans would travel all the way to Russia. And now at that time, that was after the fall of the Soviet Union, correct?
No. It was here right now in 2014.
Oh, it was here. Okay. I misunderstood. I apologize. So the International Chekhov Festival was here, and it was presented that way, right? That's what you're telling me?
International Chekhov Festival was in Russia.
That's what I thought, and I thought you were correcting me, telling me no. Okay, so it was here. That we did it several times with different actors, with Scott, and then it was taken to Russia, which is what I'd said, and that was after the fall of the Soviet Union, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So far, we're firing on cylinders. All right. So I do appreciate your being there. And again, for those of you who are just joining us, we are honoring the memory of one of New Orleans's best actors. And I'm trying my best to get a couple things here. I wanted to put your name up there so everybody knows who you are. And Natasha, when did you first meet Scott? When was the first time you actually were aware of him as an actor?
I met him in South Rep Theater here in New Orleans. And I remember I used to go to this theater on Canal Place on the third floor.
Right.
And Rosalie O'Neill, she producing, directing, and several plays. And I remember very vividly how I saw Scott together with Memoriam Mason, very talented actress here in New Orleans, and she also passed away.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
She passed away in 2020, yes. And now Scott 2 years later. And what was very interesting, before Maria Mason died, I know that Scott flew specially to North Carolina, to Asheville, close to Asheville, where she used to live, and she spent time with her. He was a very good friend,
Yes.
When you coming together, when you work together, we becoming very close. And I became very close with Scott from 2006.
I got you.
When Lila Owen, who is not also here,
Right.
here
Lila
anymore,
Owen, who passed away as
Lila
well.
Owen, yeah. She invited me on March 27, 2006, after Katrina. And March 27, it is International Theater Day around the world. It was very, how to say, symbolically. And I came to her, and Henry Hoffman, very great actor and director, who is also not here anymore.
Right. I remember him, yes.
Yeah. He presented a play by Carol Racamora, I Take Your Hand in Mine. This is about Chekhov and about his actress.
His muse, right? Right.
Yes, Olga Knipper. And it was very symbolically, we read the play, and Lila read, and Henrik Hoffman, also read this play. And I said, first time I heard this, and I said, guys, I would love to direct. I know exactly about what is a play, and I will be happy to direct. But Henry Hoffman decided that this is a role not for him, it's not enough, And we started with Lila just hunting for actors. And we trying different thought, and suddenly Scott Jefferson came to us, and I remember, like, I I remember vividly how I met Scott in the Tulane campus during Shakespearean Theatre Festival, and how I talked with him, and he was so young, elegant, He knew how to talk with women. He knew how to give them a hug. You feel that you woman together with him. And I said, Scott, I would love to work with you. I have several plays which I really want to do this. And I see only you. You could be great Jean-Baptiste Molière in the play by Mikhail Bulgakov, The Life of the Mr. Jean-Baptiste Molière. And I said, I know this is unbelievable play about theater, about politics, about this talent, huge talent like Molière. So it's in my mind, and I wanted to do this. And unfortunately we didn't. But we met, from 1996, periodically when I met Scott, I said, Scott, let's work. He said, one day. In 2006, we started rehearse the play by Carol Racamora. And first it was in the West Vega in the theater. West Vega Theater, yes. So we did this performance. After this, For some reason, Lila decided that for her will be very difficult to act. So and what happened that we had opportunity to perform the same play at Le Chat Noir. And thanks God, Barbara Martley, agreed and invited us. It was a huge success. I called Diana Shorter, she was busy. I called Kathy Randall. So, Kathy, please help. We had 5 rehearsals. After 5 rehearsals, she did brilliant job. She was nominated for Big Easy after this show. But Big Easy, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So every year something we came back to this play. And in 2011, I had chance to take Kathy Randall and Scott Jefferson to Washington Russian Cultural Center. This is connected with Russian Embassy. And we performed in the wonderful building. We had wonderful time, but we were so excited because we knew that this is special performance for Scott Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
He is planning to propose Allison, his future wife.
Well, that brings me up to an interesting point. You already mentioned Kathy Randall's, Diana Shortis. Some that neither of them are going to be with us, but they will be with us in some way. So let me go ahead and share, if I may, a little video and ask Kathy to talk a little bit.
Hey everybody, my name is Kathy Randalls, and I'm really sorry and sad that I can't be with y'all tonight to celebrate Scott Jefferson's amazing life. I just wanted to share a tiny story about working with him on I Take Your Hand in Mine, Moscow Nights production of the love letters between Anton Chekhov and Olga Knipper, leading up to and through their marriage and his passing. And I just wanted to say he was an amazing man, an amazing actor, wonderful to work with. And we had the joy of traveling to the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. to perform the piece. And the closing night of our performances, he actually proposed to Madame Alice Saint Germain, and it was quite something to behold. He was an incredibly romantic man. He loved life. He lived it to the fullest, and he will be sorely missed. And so I just want to sing this little song from that performance. I was one of 3 women who got to be his Olga Knipper to his Anton Chekhov, and I count myself very lucky. So this is for you. We called him Golubchik, lovely little dove. So here it is. Don't go away, oh my Golubchik. My lonely life is misery. But if you go away, you promise that you will always remember me. Oh, tell me please, oh, tell me please, that you love me true, that you love me true. Oh, tell me please, oh, tell me please, that you will always love me true. Bye-bye, Scott Jefferson, or see you later. Enjoy this next realm as much as you enjoyed this earthly realm. You will be sorely, sorely missed. Much love.
How about that? What a performance. Yeah. And Kathy couldn't be with us, but, it's just a testament to the fact that he had that kind of an impression. And she remembered that performance, obviously, to sing the song as well as she did. And Kathy, thank you. I'm just going to say that it means a lot to all of us who remember him. I'd like to go over, a few more of the pictures that you sent me first off, but I wanted to start off before you mentioned he was at Southern Rep, and beautiful Rosary O'Neill also had a lovely opportunity to comment on Scott's passing. So I wanted to first off let people sort of see what she had to say about that. And it's going to scroll down there. It basically says Scott Jefferson was one of the most brilliant actors I've ever worked with. Charismatic, kind, intuitive, generous, humorous are just some of the traits that he exemplified on stage. I will remember him always in the role of Rooster at the American Center in Paris, where he captivated the audience and is now on the cover of my book, Ghost of New Orleans. And she said that he will always be remembered as one of the great actors of Southern Rep. Again, Rosary was the founding artistic director, and she ended by saying, "Godspeed his soul to the land of the artist." Rosary O'Neill. I'm gonna let that stroll around, and for those of you who missed it, get a chance to see it again. It's just so large that I couldn't put it all up. But I wanted to start off. I looked at a couple things, and Natasha, you mentioned Southern Rep. So I have him starting off, and again, I got as much of the information I could from the old Stage Click site, which of course is not really operating correctly these days. But he'd started off apparently the first acknowledged role that he had is uncredited or untitled in Sweet Bird of Youth back in 1992. And I think that may have been Le Petit Theater. Now, if anybody knows, that would have probably been an opportunity that he might have worked with Lila. That would make sense. And then the next piece, of course, when Rosary was talking about was Rooster Dubonnet in something called Hearts, May of 1994. And I know that Janet Shea and I had talked earlier. She remembered him having been there around that time. That he also had a role in 3 Hotels in November of 1994. And forgive me, but I don't remember what producing company it was. 3 Hotels. He played the role of Kenneth Hoyle. And then in May of 1995, he played James Ellis in Blackjack, The Thief of Possession. In April of 1996, and I'm not sure if this was in conjunction with the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival or not, because it was in April, I tend to think that maybe he might have treated them to a performance earlier. But since most of the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival theater takes place on or around March the 26th, which is Tennessee Williams' birthday, I tend to doubt that was necessarily part of their festival, but it could very well have been. But he played Tennessee Williams. He played the role of the playwright and poet in A More Congenial Climate, Tennessee Williams in New Orleans. Then, of course, in 1997, we have him as an uncredited or untitled role in A Walk in the Woods. Of course, that's the drama about the Soviet Union, United States, the détente, etc. And The Iceman Cometh, he played Hickey. And I've got a picture that Martin Covert had sent me, so I'll send that out in just a little bit. In January of 2000. Now we're getting close to the time when, I would say he was in his heyday. He played the title role of King Lear in September of 2000, and that would have been for John Grimsley and Grimsley's Dog and Pony Theater, which, of course, Grimsley was partnered with Diana Shortis, who sent her regrets tonight as well. It is, after all, Halloween, and I know people are trick-or-treating with kids and friends, etc. In 2001, he played Nick Bottom in A Midsummer Night's Dream, again, I believe, with Dog and Pony. And then Romeo and Juliet, again, in July of 2002. He played Capulet and Antonio in The Merchant of Venice the following year, September of 2002. That was when you did I'll Take Your Hand in Mine. He played Anton Chekhov and An Afternoon with Anton Chekhov. And the last 2 plays that I have him credited for was I have Tiny Alice in January of 2012, which I got to see. He played sort of the evil lawyer, if you remember. And then finally, he played at the Shakespeare Festival in New Orleans, the role of the player, which is the main player, of course, in Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. That was 10 years ago. It seems hard to believe it's already been a decade that was done. But that'll give you most of, I would say, the breadth of his work, all of which had a lasting impact on New Orleans theater. And we hope that everybody who listened in, will appreciate, how important he was as an actor. So, I appreciate that. I'm going to show some pictures, but before I do, I just mentioned Grimsley, and I wanted to go ahead and put this out as well, because he had an opportunity to let me know that he's actually traveling on the road, and he did say thank you, for us being out there, and he said that he's actually been thinking about Scott and has him in his prayers. But again, I'm sorry John couldn't be with us as well. But again, he did take time out to acknowledge his passing. And Diana also extended her condolences. She is busy with trick or treating, and why not? I appreciate anybody who can come, and I appreciate you being here. Let me get to your photos. You had some absolutely brilliant photos, wonderful pieces. And again, they're not in any particular order, but this is we mentioned Diana. This is a picture of Diana and Scott. And I don't know if this was taken here in New Orleans or if this was at the International Chekhov Festival. Do you know?
I believe maybe, I don't remember right now, maybe it was here.
Okay.
But yeah.
So this is one that I believe was at the festival.
And this is from Moscow. This is from Moscow.
Because I know that they've got a little bit of Russian Cyrillic alphabet there.
Yeah.
So I know that that's absolutely from Russia.
Yes.
And then we've got another one here. Look at that. Beautiful. And I believe, I'm not mistaken, that the costuming was done by Veronica, correct?
No. Costume was done.
Who did this?
But sis, Martin.
Oh, Cecile. My apologies.
Cecile, yeah.
I asked Martin to take part. I wouldn't have made that mistake if Martin were on the show, but Cecile would have corrected me. But yeah, I know that there was some work. I know she had done the costumes for Tiny Alice, so I just assumed that maybe she had done it for you too. The beautiful work. Whoever did it, Cecile, Veronica, fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is another piece.
And this is from Moscow, yes.
Yes. And again, Diana Shortis and Scott in the roles of Anton Chekhov, and again
Olga Knieper.
Olga Knieper.
Olga Knieper Chekhov.
Knieper. Okay, there we go. There's another beautiful picture of them triumphant in Moscow.
In Moscow, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is one where they actually relaxed a little bit, and we're having a little bit of a libation there.
Yes. This is in a state in Chekhov.
Now, this is a picture of Scott. I don't know if this is one that was with you or not, but it might have been when he was working with Amy Alvarez. What do you think?
Yes, in 2015, it was my last production with Scott Jefferson. I did Facade. I wrote a play based on the book of William Wade, and I invited Amy Alvarez and Scott Jefferson. It was a little bit difficult period of our rehearsing, but we had a huge success. And this performance we did in Jefferson Parish Library and in Rain Methodist Church. It was full house. Yeah.
I want to show this picture. This is a picture of Amy and Scott, and she told me at that point that he had already some memory issues at that point.
Exactly.
And now, had he already had his stroke, or was that he was recovering from that, or was it just he was starting to have memory issues?
It was started. So for him, it was very difficult. Yeah, it was difficult rehearsal, and he did very well, but it was very difficult process. And after this, he stopped to act. Stopped to act.
And Amy, of course, also was contacted. She didn't even know that he had passed. So I said I was sorry to have to pass that on, but this was a very touching and she said very, very moving, but very sad play. So, we
Yes.
mentioned it. Now, this is one I believe with Martin. Martin covered. You mentioned him
Oh,
earlier.
it was a lot of fun. I did little play by Chekhov. It was this this one song, and Martin was brilliant, and Scott as well.
Well, I have to say, he also contacted me, told me he was sorry that he couldn't make it as well, but the invitation went out to him and Cecile. Again, another photo of Amy with Scott, and again Amy and Scott. We had quite a few, and I believe one more. This is probably them taking their bows. And now this is one with Kathy Randall's.
Kathy
So
Randall, it was article in the magazine Siegel, yes, about the performance in Washington. So it was on the cover of the nice magazine in Washington.
and Scott is Anton Chekhov there.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, again, another color picture of him as Anton
Yes.
Chekhov. So,
Yeah.
so again, all these are beautiful pictures. You did a great job of providing me, and I really felt like some people would not have maybe connected the name Scott Jefferson. They might have seen him maybe a few years ago. Since he left town, he hadn't been doing anything. Again, one of the other reasons that we wanted to do something tonight, and again, this may not go the whole length of the hour that we've allotted for, because there's a point of sharing, etc. And I don't want to belabor the point. I just felt like something should have been done, something should have been said. We should have had an opportunity, to kind of get together. And I understand there's some comments too, so let me see if I can put those up as well. It says Scott was born to be an actor. It lived in his soul. And person who was commenting, again, I can tell you, if you'd like to leave your name on the talk, all you have to do is go to facebook.com/StreamYard. That's the spot there. And when you do leave your name, Facebook will go ahead and put that name up there, just as it did for Stacy. First time I remember Scotty was in Bottom in A Midsummer Night's Dream with Grimsley as director. He was such a wonderful person and actor. Thank you, Stacy, and do appreciate your being with us tonight. Again, we are honoring the memory and the talent of Scott Michael Jefferson, who passed away a little over a week ago. Right? It was last weekend, not this past weekend, but I know I got word of it on Sunday. I don't know exactly the day that he passed, but I know that you've been in contact with his now widow, his wife, and she had contacted you, and it was very kind, of you to let us know, because he will be missed. There are a lot of people out there who will obviously know, that we are lesser because he's not with us. And again, we can only relate back to what he did as an actor on stage, and he left a lasting impression in so many people's minds. I was just transfixed by some of his performances, and I have to say that I would count him as one of the very best that we've had. And I don't say that about everybody, but again, I do believe that we were blessed to have him for however long we did. And I'm sorry that he had some health issues that kept him out of New Orleans for the last several years. Natasha, do you know whether or not there is any other opportunity for people to have any kind of memorial? Is his wife going to come, his widow now going to come into New Orleans and host some kind of a gathering, or not? Have you heard anything at all?
No, I didn't, unfortunately.
Okay. Well,
But
no,
I think maybe after New Year, maybe one day we will do some memorial for two actors, Maria Mason and Scott Jefferson.
not a bad idea. I have a couple, like I said, I had a couple of photos that I wanted to also share that Martin had given me. And I wanted to put those out. I know Janet Shays put out a comment. I wanted to try to get that to before we close things out tonight. But let me see if I can get the photos out from Martin that would show up as well. and we can share those before it gets to be too late. And some of them are a little bit similar to what you already had, but I'm going to try my best to load them up on the site, and let's see if we can share them. And I know that as I said, we had a number of comments that we've already had, and I'm going to try to put the rest of them up. We will add these last few pictures right now, and then we'll probably just sort of close this out. Just thank everybody for being with us tonight. And again, I was prepared to go as long as I needed to, and I don't want to overextend the time here. But let's go ahead and see if we can pose these last little pictures here for you. You can see what we've got. This is one, I believe that was from The Iceman Cometh. He played Hickey in that one. And I think that this one, you may know this one, Natasha. Again, these are all from Martin Cover, and I want to thank him. This is King Lear. Beautiful.
Beautiful picture.
Yeah, and then the last picture is similar to one you had that you said was one you done at Le Chat Noir with Martin and with Scott, and he had shared this one as well. It was similar to the one that we had earlier, which was this one. So this came from Martin, and again he sent that as well. So we have all of that, and again I know that for those of you who are watching tonight and commiserating with us on the loss of Scott Michael Jefferson, we appreciate you being with us. Natasha, thank you for being with us as well. And I actually have a little bit of libation. I didn't want everybody else to feel like they had to bring in, that's the tradition in this show. We always have a little something. And this is actually Johnny Walker Blue. Okay. That's the value I attribute to Scott Michael Jefferson, that his performances were of the caliber of Johnny Walker Blue. Very, very special and very, very rare. And I hope that everybody will appreciate his value as not only as an actor, but as a human being. And Natasha, thank you for being with us tonight.
No, thank you very much, Alan, that you immediately decided to make this tribute to him. Thank you so much, Alan.
You're more than welcome. And again, hopefully, I think we had one more comment. I don't know if this is Janet or not. Let's see. I know that... Okay, what a great face. Now, I know Janet was out here. She'd mentioned that she might be able to stop in or at least make a comment. So we appreciate Janet Shea out there watching and listening. And everybody else, again, thank you all for being with us. And again, Natasha, thank you. Stick around just for a second, Natasha, while I say goodnight to everybody. And in the meantime, my name's Alan Smason. Again, thank you for being with us. And we all have honored, I hope, at least tried to honor the legacy of Scott Michael Jefferson, and I will see you next week at the theater, wherever.